Time right now is 11:58 a.m. on Thursday, November 17th. This is the ESA public hearing in regards to conforming rules. Currently, we are just getting signed on, just going live, and we will wait for our attendees to jump on. Good afternoon, everyone. It is currently 12:01 and you are attending the ESA Conforming Rules public hearing. We have more than 100 people registered to speak at this event, but it looks like we don't have that many people signed on. So we're going to give a few more moments so that those who registered have a chance to join us. So please just bear with us. We'll start soon. Time is currently 12:03, so I guess we'll get started with the introductions as people pour in. So thank you for joining us again. This is the ESA Public Hearing for the Empowerment Scholarship Account. My name is Catherine Ruiz. I am the project director here at the State Board of Education. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. Also on the public hearing, we have Lucinda Flores, who is our ESA administrator. So thank you so much, Lucinda. And we have Jessica Mueller, who is our research and data analyst, who is lending herself to tech support today. So thank you so much, Jessica, for taking time out of your day. So first off, again, this is the rules regarding the conforming rules for ESA program. So Alicia Williams, our executive director, is probably on the call watching us as well, going through this. And our board member Clark sends her apologies, having to both of them attend the Excel and Ed conference. Of course, they will both be receiving the recording as well as all the esteemed board members so that they can review this later at their discretion. So with the public hearing, please a reminder that this is the avenue for everyone to express views and concerns in public setting about the ESA conforming changes to rule. So there's a few a few virtual rules in regards to the public hearing that I'd like to go through. So we're going to be calling out the speaker names one at a time and saying who's on deck, who's next, so that everyone can have a chance to put their thoughts together regarding the comments that they want to provide. If someone, of course, is not available or ready to speak at that time, we will move forward and come back to cycle back towards you. So please follow along the list of the speakers. So the list of the speakers is the following. So as we said before, we have more than 100 people registered to speak. So this is the first list of 12. And we'll go through them one at a time. So we'll go through and you can see your name. When it's your turn, you will be asked to be unmuted and a box will populate that will ask you to go ahead and mute yourself. So you can go ahead and make sure that we can hear you just fine. And then we'll go ahead and start the timer to go through and take your comments. If you experience technical issues, like I said, we will cycle through and then come back to you. And if for some reason we can't receive your comments due to technical issues, you could always submit public comment to us directly at esafeedback@spe.az.gov. So moving on, like I said, the list of people who requested to speak is quite large. So please ensure your name in Zoom matches the name that you use to register. So first off, like the person that we have here, we're going to be looking for that name in the list of attendees to go first. So please make sure that whatever name you have in your Zoom matches what we see so that we know who to unmute. And each speaker will have, since we had so many people register, we'll see how many people join us today. But if everyone who registered joins us today, it'll be limited to 1 minute. We'll see how many people do join us. When your time expires, you will hear a beep. So that will be your cue that your time is up. And due to the number of people that have registered, let's be mindful of the time since we don't want to eat into someone else's time to speak. Okay, so, and if for some, again, unforeseen circumstances happen, we could always receive public comment. All of that will be provided to the board. So you don't have to worry about your public comments not being received. They will be. So this is a reminder that in the public hearing setup, we are not allowed to respond to questions. We're not allowed to respond to comments. This is the time for the different attendees to provide feedback and provide thoughts and concerns regarding the different changes per the conforming changes that are happening. So the parent forums are the opportunity for a live Q&A in which there is a dialogue, and this is not that type of forum. So just a reminder that we cannot speak directly back to any comments that we receive. This is similar to that of the board meetings if you've attended our board meeting. We're here to listen and gain feedback. This is being recorded. A summary will be provided to the board as stated earlier. The board will also be receiving a copy of this video, and it is being live streamed so that everybody can see it as well too. So being that the meeting is live streamed, please be mindful and respectful. We would prefer not to have to cut anyone off due to disrespect or profanity. So please be mindful of what is being shared. So, well, I guess we'll jump right in. And if I pronounce your name incorrectly, I deeply apologize. Please do not hesitate to correct me. I would like to not butcher anyone's name. So first up, we've got, it looks like 13 people that we have in attendance. So being that we've got 13 people in attendance thus far, I think we can increase this. to 3 minutes. Okay, so Christina Manuel, you are with us. I see you.
Hi. Well,
Hi.
I
We can hear you.
I was going to speak, but I don't have much to say about the existing rules, or sorry, the rules that are supposed to be coming up. Although I would really love to see the audit rules changed to reflect the ADE doing internal audits before auditing parents. But other than that, I'm just going to sit and listen, and thank you for everybody that's going to speak. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next we have Charlotte Delmars. It appears that Charlotte is not with us. So we'll come back to Charlotte if she comes back on. Sandy Renaud, or Renaud, if I'm saying that correctly. Appears that she is not with us. Todd Whitney. Do not see Todd. We had somebody register as just Zoom user. I don't see a Zoom user, so I think we're okay to move on. Brian, I admit I do not know how to pronounce this last name, so I don't want to ruin their name. I do not see a Brian though. Sarah Blank. There we go. Are you receiving us, Sarah? Are you getting that little box to unmute?
Just got it. Are we all set?
There, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Please.
great. I just thank you for having this and allowing us to speak. I just had a comment about in statute R7-2-1507C. It says that the department shall not request repayment for approved expenses. And as you may be aware, 5 parents were asked to repay approved expenses by ADE staff. The expenses were actually reviewed and approved several times. So I'm wondering if that rule language can be used to clarify how that works, and so parents aren't punished or made to repay for ADA's errors. And other than that, that's all I had.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have is Rebecca Cross. Let's see, do we have Rebecca Cross? It's like, no, we do not. Tamara?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. My first thing, actually, Sarah already said, so I just wanted to echo that I was hoping, and in fact, I'm scrambling through the pages because I know I read the language somewhere that said something about already approved, and I just read it a minute ago, so I'm really frustrated that I can't find it. Anywhere, somewhere in the language, it does say that, you know, approved things will not be recalled. So I just was hoping that, you know, a transparency or clearer picture could be put into the rules that says, you know, if it's already gone through the process, then things shouldn't be recalled or repaid as being inappropriate when already reviewed by the board or the ESA. So that's just one thing. Another thing that I noticed, and I'm really bad at saying the statutes as they are written, so I believe it's R7-2-1505, number 2 or A, number 2, letter B, possibly. And I was just confused with, it states before enrolling in an ESA, if the qualified student withdraws from the school district. I thought it was before signing the contract. So that is one that I would like some clarification on. And then if we just go down to R7-2-1505A6A, well, A and C, I see that C has been accounted for with the new language from HB 2853, but A has not. So, and in the HB 2853, it says computer hardware and technological devices primarily used for educational purpose, blah, 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 blah. So I just wondered if that could be consistent with C, or how that could be made to be consistent with those 3 bullet points that were changed within that bill language. And then I really think that's all that I had to say, was just those couple of things that I noted when running through the draft. Otherwise, looks good. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much. All right, next we have Kayla Spadine. Are you receiving us?
Yes, I just got the thing to unmute, and I was thinking I was going to have a little bit more time. Give me one moment. I am pulling into my child's school parking lot. So one sec while I stop my car safely. Thank you for being patient. Okay. Thank you very much for allowing comment on the rules. Actually, what Tamara said, it echoes basically what I was going to say. So I don't really have much to add from that, just as long as the language really needs to be clear about the approvals being able to, the coming back to repay, the how the technological devices and such are approved. And we're really just hoping that with these rules, there is something in place to ensure that the department is abiding. So I know that that is a concern of many ESA parents, that sometimes we have rule in there, but it is not something that is enforced. And we've had that conversation before about what the state board's role is. But I just want to make sure that that's said. We want the rules, but also that they are able to make sure that that the department abides by them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next on the list we have is Allison Wilkes, but it appears that they are not with us. So next is Melanie Santana. Are you receiving us? Perhaps that box is coming up. Okay, so it appears we're having some technical difficulties. So we'll come back. Just as my own little reminder to come back to this. All right, we've got Leah. It appears that there is no Leah. Sarah Bridwell. Sarah. All right, next is Dominique Castile. I don't see a Dominique. Carolyn Paggy. I don't see, so we'll come back. Cynthia Morales. I don't see one. Let's see her. Virginia Ellis. Ben Becker. David Glover. Okay, we'll move on. Coco. Danae. Benizzi. Danae. Derek Parker. Oh, looks like there's some more people jumping in. We have a Derek Parker. We do not. Sonia Padilla. Kimberly Borges. Joseph McCain. Or McLean, I apologize. I pronounced that incorrectly. Amanda Roach. Okay, no, Amanda Roach. Gabriella. I fear pronouncing mispronouncing that last name. I don't want to say that name incorrectly. So Gabriella, and we have you here. I see you.
Yes, I'm here.
Wonderful. We can hear you. Oh, perhaps you missed the introduction, but this is your 3 minutes to speak so that the board may listen. So you're free to speak. These are your 3 minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. Do I make questions or do I just introduce myself?
Just to reiterate for those who joined us, who it looks like we had a few more attendees, the public hearing is the forum in which we receive comment that the board essentially listens and is not allowed to respond back. So which this is the free forum in which parents and account holders can make comments and we receive said comments. So there's not a back and forth like the live Q&A. This is just a time for us to listen. So more than happy to listen to what you have to say.
Oh, okay. I did have questions. Well, I am very happy to be here today. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to, I did had a few questions regarding this. This is the first time I actually apply. And I do have my kids on a public school right now. And my only question was, since I do want them to finish their school year, I was wondering if it's a possibility for us to be able to reapply again next year, starting of the year. And to be honest with you, that was the whole question, because I haven't signed the contract.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Michelle Granado. Looks like we don't have a Michelle. Adriel. Looks like we don't have an Adriel. Jacqueline Powers. There we go. Trying to give you allowed to talk. Jessica, could you please click on Jacqueline Powers? I'm clicking it, but for some reason it's not taking. I see that you're with us.
Kat, this is Jessica. It's not working on my end either. What I would advise is to promote her to a panelist temporarily so that she can give that comment.
I'm trying to do that. It's not allowing me to do that either.
Okay, in this case, I would advise Ms. Powers to leave the meeting and rejoin. She should be able to pop back in and maybe that'll be on the Zoom side.
Yeah, Ms. Powers, if you could pop out and pop back in, we could definitely wait. Yeah. All right, so so she pops out and pops back in. I keep trying, but it's not taking. Okay. Next is Brianna Riego. I don't see Brianna. Laura Morales. I don't see Laura. Veronica Espinosa. See Veronica. Nicole Hernandez. Kelly Wilson. Mike Ruggiero. Heather Thomas. David Torres. I see a David. Can you hear us? You could unmute yourself. All right. We'll come back. Stephanie Hill. Chris Ross. Elena Rutter. Brian Utley. Daphne. I don't want to pronounce that last name incorrectly. Tia de Grey. Eva Babella. Bethany Woodward, or excuse me, Woodard. Helen Kovac, I see you. Can you unmute?
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Wonderful.
Sorry, I was going to give up here in a minute.
I'm so glad you didn't.
One of my concerns is the lack of quickness, I guess we'll say, of getting things that are pending approval approved. I was here at the previous meeting as well. I've been to all of the meetings, I believe, and I still believe that there's something lacking in some sort of a rule that protects parents so that we don't get behind in our curriculum because we're waiting for an experiment to be approved, or we're waiting for, or the things for an experiment to be approved, or we're waiting for something along those lines. And I was under the impression that anything that we ordered from Amazon would pretty much be automatically, if we went through the system, through the purchasing, go to your shop, that type of stuff, would be approved. And yet we're 30 days in on some of these things and they're not being approved at all, or they're just still lingering. And so we either have had to find alternatives or pay for them some other way, or even out of pocket at times because of the lack of the system being held responsible. So I just think that there needs to be better wording somewhere along the line so that we don't have this problem. The other problem that I wanted to bring up was the phone system. I think there should be some ruling on that as well. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. I understand I have kids that were approved prior to the new rule, and I had a third one coming in under the old rule, not under the new classifications. And, you know, I had to beat the system, we will say, by having somebody intervene for me through an old email address I happened to get, pushed me on to the right person, and finally got something, my third child approved. And I mean, highly autistic, I mean, text board, everything should have been fine and wasn't. So I think that having a phone system would have alleviated my stress and my freaking out at somebody who probably shouldn't have been freaked out at, because I'd been so patient. So I do believe that there needs to be a ruling on this phone problem as well. I do not think that turning the phones off indefinitely at this point was really a satisfactory result or resolution, I should say, to the problem at hand. Anyway, those are my two complaints. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we have Scott Calkins. It doesn't appear we have a Scott. Mindy Soto. Doesn't appear we have a Mindy. Caroline Jennings. There you are. Can you hear us? We can see you.
Hi.
There you are.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I have a question because this is the first time I've ever had more money from ESA than I've ever had other than what covers my daughter's tuition. And so I'm not sure how to spend it. And I also was interested in using some of it for transportation costs because I take her to school and back. And I'm just wondering if that's allowable and how I proceed in using this extra funds. That's all.
Well, thank you for your comments. Let me just reiterate that at the public hearing, we don't answer questions. There's no dialogue like at the live parent forum Q&A. We just receive comments, just like at the board meeting. So I just want to reiterate that for everybody. All right, 1 second while we move on to the next person. Jessica, if I could have some help, I would appreciate some with how to, I had to promote her to panelist to be able to get her to speak because the system wouldn't let me otherwise. It gave me a warning. So I would need some help with that if you could assist, please. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, Heather Perkins. Do we have a Heather Perkins? Does not appear we have a Heather Perkins. Chassis Caps. Does not appear we have a Chassis Caps. Dan, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, and I do not wish to say it incorrectly. Doesn't appear we have a Dan. Marlisha Elliott. Does not appear we have a Marlisha. Kat Reese Rogers. There you are. Are you receiving us? Can you unmute?
Hello.
There you are.
Sorry, I forgot that my mouse pad doesn't work and needed to use the screen. I just want to say thank you to everyone who is working super hard behind the scenes, ESA, getting as much push through as possible. I totally get with the abundance of people who've come on with the Universal that we way outnumber you guys even more than before. Yes, there are many things that need addressing, and I won't get into those because I hopped on a little late and am not totally prepared, but really just want to express gratitude for all you guys are doing, and thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, Jennifer Pietrek. No, Jennifer. Jessica Pacheco. No, Jessica. Carl Williams. No, Carl. Amy Torgerson. Do not see an Amy. Jinky de Matthias. Tran Mendez. No. Stephanie Macomber. Shauna Noel. Nicole Homel. Ashaya Harmer. And I apologize if I said that wrong. Amy Grove. Tara Walker. Jordan DeAngelo. Brooke Chittum. April Klein. Scott Brown. Kieran Roach. Yanni Torres. Andrea Curry. Emery Tingy. Lori Hack. Laura Kimball. Intezar Cook. Elizabeth Peterson. There you are. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. Wonderful.
I just want to say thank you. Well, we are former military and moved back home after service. And so we are in the ESA Universal program. hold on. I think there's a little kickback. Okay. We're in the ESA Universal Program. So my comment is basically about emails and when we're getting funding for Q1. A lot of information that's been put out, we actually received via Facebook. And so far, I've been happy with the program and getting funding for the stuff that we've already been using. And I'm just really happy that we get to use it in general. So, and I'm hoping it continues for previous years. There's a learning curve on your end, but there's also a learning curve on our end as well, and what you're wanting from us. And as far as names on receipts and things like that, and how we can go about using the funds the best way. So that's all I have to say. And we're just so thankful and generous.
Thank you so much. Christina Acero. Nicole Donaldson. Chris Emlett. Cynthia Hudkins. Savannah Fish. Desiree Rocha. Christy Hillier. Elisa Salazar. Crystal Trujillo. Gloria Ujes. Formatting's wrong. Rosa Elena Ocra Sierra. Justin, I will mispronounce that. I don't wish to try because I don't want to say it wrong. Justin. Iona Maduna. Jessica Jacobs. Mitra Searcy. Katharina Van Horn. Molly Garrett. Katie Boren. Michelle Post. Molly Lapidas Head. Desiree Fichal. Lorraine Dockstader. Monique Hampton. Mindy Martinez. Walter Booth. Dominic, there you are. Can you hear us? Dominic, if you could unmute yourself. Looks like Dominic has left the meeting. Matthew Brinkman. Lisa Nelson Hayes. Sharon Reichert. Valerie Jones.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. So I wanted to make a couple of comments about transportation. First of all, I just wanted the board to be aware of the cost of those services. I take my son to school in the morning. In the afternoon, I use a service, and that cost just one way, 20 minutes from school to home, is about $900 a month. So when they're thinking about awards, that's something to consider. The other thing that I wanted to bring up regarding transportation is that you might want to think about how to put parameters around who gets to transport, because the services that are already out there, like hop, skip, drive, and care transportation, et cetera, are already at capacity. With more people being able to expense these things, those services are likely not going to be able to accommodate everyone. So if there can be some built-in flexibility on that issue, that I think that would be wonderful. And finally, I just wanted to say that whenever I've contacted ESA, they've been wonderful, polite, knowledgeable, patient. So I thank them for that. I do think, though, that you probably need more people that are picking up the phone. Because the line is very difficult to get through. So thank you. Those are all of my comments. I appreciate the chance to comment.
Thank you. Okay. Right. So that's Valerie. All right. Mercedes Whitney. 1 second. Jessica, if I could get help on removing her as a panelist, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Mercedes Whitney is next. Looks like we don't have a Mercedes Whitney. Diana Newmark. There you are. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Oh, great. So I am speaking to you. I'm Diana Newmark, Associate Clinical Professor of Law at the James E. Rogers College of Law at the University of Arizona. And I direct our Education Advocacy Clinic. And I wanted to highlight a group of children who still don't have access to ESAs, even under the universal expansion. And that is kids who are in foster care. So we provide in our clinic education advocacy student services to kids in Tucson schools with a real focus on kids who are involved in the court systems, whether it's child welfare or delinquency or immigration. And I meet with a bunch of other professionals in this area working on similar issues. And through this work, have become familiar with several kids who can't access an ESA because they are a ward of the state and therefore don't have a parent to sign that contract under the rules. And so under the previous rules, there was a provision for kids who had been wards of the state previously, and they could access an ESA only as long as they were in an adoptive or a pre-adoptive home and the court had documented that. But that means that all of the kids in our state who are in group homes or in foster placements that are temporary just simply don't qualify. And we've seen this happen. I have someone I've worked with recently, even here just in November, just 10 days ago, got a letter from staff saying ESA does not issue contracts to students who are dependent on the state of Arizona. And another example is an attorney I spoke with this week who was representing a child with 5 other siblings. The child was going to be adopted in December. All of the 5 siblings go to a school on an ESA, and the family wanted their foster child to join as well. But the one child whose ESA was denied was the kid whose adoption hadn't been finalized yet. And that just singles out a foster kid as the one who can't attend the sibling school. So in that situation, the child's lucky enough to have a pre-adoptive home, and hopefully an ESA would come through soon. But many kids don't have that opportunity because they're in group homes or temporary foster homes. And that can really be often more prevalent for kids with those complex needs, including disabilities, who actually it might be harder to place in a pre-adoptive home, and yet are also those children who might have trouble getting their services in the public school system, so really would benefit from an ESA to access those private programs. So I urge an amendment to the new ESA rules to include access to ESAs for kids who are wards of the state. I know that would be a challenge to figure out who would sign that contract, but I think it's a challenge worth taking. Doing so would require coordination with the agencies serving youth. And so I urge ADE to convene a working group with the major stakeholders, courts, DCS, and attorneys representing kids and parents, as well as nonprofits. So I urge ADE to consider foster kids and not exclude them from this now universal program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do not wish to mispronounce the first name, so last name Frank. It's like we don't have this person. Gary Coulter. It's like we don't have that person. Suzanne Tracy. It's like we don't have this person. Okay, so let's cycle back to who we had trouble having issues with. So Melanie, been very patient. Can we hear you? Can you unmute? Can you hear us? I see that you're unmuted, but we still can't hear you. Still can't hear you, Melanie. Melanie, since we still can't hear you, please send us a written comment on what you intended to say, and we'll make sure that the board members receive your written comment. I apologize for the tech issues. I know that can be really frustrating. Please send us a written comment since we still can't hear you. Jacqueline Powers, can we fix that? Can we hear you or promote you? Still can't. So I would recommend, Jacqueline Powers, please email us your written comment on what comments you are going to provide to the board, and we'll make sure that they get those comments. So I apologize, for some reason we're not able to promote you or allow you to be promoted to a panelist. David Torres is no longer here. That is everyone. Okay, so that concludes the public comments for everyone who registered to speak. So as I said, if you've got additional comments that you would like to provide to the board, please email us at ESA Feedback. So the next thing that'll happen is the next board meeting is going to be on Friday, December 9th. And on Friday, December 9th, the board, of course, will be receiving a packet including all the comments received from the last parent survey, the parent chat box from the live Q&A that we had. So all of that data will be aggregated so that they can review said data and review that. So we will be going through that, toiling through to see what we can make available to the public as well too. So that's available, that will be available on our website once we have that ready. So please keep an eye out for that. So if you've got any public comments that you would like to submit to the board for the public meeting in regards to the public hearing, feel free to email us at ESA Feedback and we'll make sure those comments get to where they need to be. So at this time, I'm going to stop sharing and I will be ending the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us today.